Welcome to Sotheby's Australia's November sale of important Australian and international art. Once again, my colleagues and I are delighted to present a diverse selection of the finest works by Australia's colonial, modern and contemporary artists. The great highlight of the sale and our cover painting, Sidney Nolan's Ned Kelly, Crossing the River, is one of the most compelling and remarkable images from Sidney Nolan's second Ned Kelly series. Here, the Australian outlaw is reduced to neck, helmet, eyes, arm and rifle, as he defiantly and courageously traverses the land of droughts and flooding rains. The painting was first shown in Nolan's highly acclaimed solo exhibition at the Redfern Gallery in London in 1955, and subsequently in his first solo exhibition in New York in 1956. It was personally selected as an outstanding example from the Ned Kelly series by Cynthia Nolan, who retained it for her personal collection. Although the work was later included in major Sidney Nolan touring exhibitions in both the United Kingdom and Australia, it has not been publicly seen since the Cynthia Nolan collection of paintings by Sidney Nolan was shown at the David Jones Art Gallery in Sydney in 1975. We are truly honoured to be entrusted with the sale of this magnificent painting, which is fully catalogued and reproduced in colour here for the first time.
One of the great treasures of the sale is this remarkable souvenir of Captain James Cook's first Pacific voyage, a beautifully detailed presentation drawing of a rainbow lorikeet. What makes this picture particularly special is the fact that it was probably painted from a live bird and not, as was so often the case in the 18th century, from a specimen skin. You see, Captain Cook's Pacific navigator, Tupaia, adopted a rainbow lorikeet as a pet from Botany Bay. And when Tupaia died later on in the voyage, Sir Joseph Banks took the bird on to England. And there it modelled for the Welsh artist Moses Griffith, who was servant and draftsman to the celebrated traveller, antiquary, amateur scientist and friend of Joseph Banks, Thomas Pennant. The very earliest known coloured depiction of an Australian bird, this exquisitely detailed gouache, is dated 1772.
Charles Blackman's Schoolgirls series occupy a singular position in the history and development of 20th century Australian art. Produced between 1952 and 1954, they are compelling images which mix complex emotions of both innocence and danger. The present painting, Schoolgirl Reading, completed in 1954, is a large-scale major example from this series. In May of 2012, Sotheby's Australia achieved an exceptional result for Charles Blackman's There Was, painted only a few months before the present work.
We are privileged to offer in the current sale two paintings from the brush of the great Geoffrey Smart. Or perhaps from the pencil of Geoffrey Smart would be a better phrase, because in many ways the essence of Smart's work is its drawing, or to use the Italian word, its disegno. The Renaissance term is actually quite appropriate, particularly in relation to the large and impressive 2004 painting, The New School 2. Here, the central cylindrical drum structure of the school hall, the flanking apartment buildings and the perspective-lined pavement are borrowed quite brazenly from The Ideal City, a painting by Smart's great hero, the Florentine painter of the Quattrocento, Piero della Francesca. Smart's own flair for design can also be seen in reflected arrows, a spare harmony of straight lines and angles, circles and ellipses, architecture and the human figure. You will probably recognise it as the poster image from the artist's 1999 retrospective exhibition.
A highlight of the present sale is Brett Whiteley's magnificent The Valley at Dusk, painted in 1983. In this year, Whiteley produced a series of works that grappled with the complexities of the drought-stricken area of New South Wales. This beautifully evocative painting depicting the moonlight in the background, the stars in the sky, is both an aerial perspective of the drought-stricken landscape with its rocks and dried-up river, together with the serenity of a bird flying over the landscape. This painting has resided with a single collector who purchased the painting in 1983.
In the post-war period, the tradition of Australian landscape painting was revitalised by the modernist sensibilities of Arthur Boyd and Fred Williams. After his crowded, nightmare, wartime images, Boyd sought solace on the land. On the Mornington Peninsula, in the Dandenongs, famously in the Wimmera, of course, and also, as here, in Victoria's Central Goldfields region. In paintings such as near Bendigo, Boyd is most interested in the landscape for its scrubby, scruffy, tactile, in other words, painterly aspect. And you can see in this work a particular warmth, a particular homeliness, despite its wilderness aspect. Fred Williams, by contrast, is more analytical. His 1957-58 Rocks, with its carefully calibrated stave of vertical trees and its Cézannesque faceted plains, shows his debt to European modernism and the way he pays it back and plays it out in the Australian bush.
In Britain during the 1920s and 1930s, the colour lino cut rose to unprecedented popularity. Championed by the charismatic teacher and artist Claude Flight at the Grosvenor School of Modern Art. These artists believed that the compositions in these colour lino cuts depicted modern technology for the modern age. In our November sale, Sotheby's Australia includes 4 impressive examples from the Grosvenor School period. Works by the Grosvenor School are currently experiencing unparalleled popularity. These 4 works are sure to attract both national and international interest. We hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction to several key works in our November sale. My colleagues and I look forward to welcoming you in the coming weeks to the Sydney and Melbourne viewings.